How do you ensure that you find really great builders for your projects and avoid the Cowboys? My name is Francis, and welcome to my building coach. Now, one of the most common questions I get asked is, how do you find the right builders for your extension project? And what's not being directly asked is, how do you avoid hiring dodgy builders? How do you avoid the Cowboys? And that's what I'm going to show you today. Now, there are two parts to this, and in this video, I'm going to go through the first part, which is what do you need your builders to do for you, aside from being, competent at the building work. The second part, which I'll cover next week, is how do you go about finding those really great builders. Now, first off, aside from building work, what is it that you need your builders to do for you? Now, to give builders their credit, most of them are more than capable of doing the building work, of doing a good job building your extension and finishing it well. So if that's the case, and that were all you needed, then you could hire any builder purely based on price. But it's not. I'm sure you've watched enough TV to know that there are dodgy builders out there who will take your money, cut corners, and they'll keep increasing costs on you. They'll do a really poor job, or maybe they won't even finish the work. So there are a number of things that you need from a good builder, aside from their building skills, that will ensure you avoid the Cowboys. And the first one is an accurate price to do the building work, which sounds obvious. Normally, you'll be asking a builder to give you a price based on a set of detailed plans that you've had drawn that show exactly what it is you want them to build. But what you really need when you're asking for a price is a quote. You need a quote rather than an estimate. So if you're not sure what the difference is, an estimate is an approximation of what they think it will cost. But there's no guarantee, and it's a variable guesstimate of price. It's a ballpark. Whereas a quote is a guaranteed price for a specific job, which is why you need plans before you can get a quote. You can't get an accurate quote from a builder without plans, because there's no way they can give you a fixed price for something that hasn't been designed yet. So that's the first thing you need. You need a quote rather than an estimate. And I hope it goes without saying that you need more than one quote, and ideally 3 or more, to give you some kind of comparison. So that brings us on to the second thing you need, which is for those quotes to be comparable, which also sounds obvious, but it's actually remarkably difficult to do. When you ask a number of builders to quote, you need to ask all of them for exactly the same thing. So as well as giving each of them a set of your plans, you also need to give them a written project brief that details exactly what it is you want, because not all of those details will be in your plans, probably. And if you don't give that detail and ask them to quote, then the quotes you get back will not be comparable. And if they're not comparable, then you literally can't compare different builders based on price, which is definitely one of the criteria you'll be using to decide who to go with. So that's the second thing that you need. You need comparable quotes. And the third thing you need your builders to be able to do, it's really important, is communicate. Communicate really well, which is not always a strong point. But it is one of the most important things, for the simple reason that you're going to be communicating with your builders on a daily basis, pretty much for the entire duration of your project. They're going to be asking you questions. You're going to be asking them questions. You're going to be solving problems together. Ideally with them helping you. You're going to have lots of decisions and choices to make. And they're going to need to be really clearly communicated so that you actually get what you want. And because communication is not one way, you might be great at it, but if they're rubbish at it, then you're probably not going to end up with exactly what you wanted, or there'll be a mistake made purely because of poor communication. So you need to find a builder who communicates really well with you. I'm going to show you how to do that, how to find those builders in the next video. Now, the fourth thing you need from your builder is a contract. And there are a surprising number of builders out there who still don't want to work with a contract because maybe it's something they've never done. They don't want to start now. They're 5 years away from retirement and they don't want to change anything. But think about it. In what other scenario would you be okay verbally agreeing to pay someone tens of thousands of pounds, possibly even hundreds, with no detailed contract that says, exactly what they're going to do, what you need to do, how long it's going to take, what you're going to pay and when, what happens if something goes wrong, what happens if you fall out and can't agree. If you don't have a contract, then you are leaving yourself open to potentially massive problems further down the line during construction. So that's the fourth thing. Fourth thing you need is a detailed contract. And it's something that either you or your builders can draw up. The Federation of Master Builders and JCT both have really good contract templates that you can download or purchase to use as the basis for the contract with your builders. Now, those are the four most important things that you need aside from builders who are competent. So how do you go about finding builders that tick all those boxes? How do you find builders who'll give you a comparable quote, who communicate well, and will draw up a detailed contract with you before the building work starts? I'm going to show you the surprisingly simple answer to all of those questions in next week's video. If you'd like a copy of those contract templates I mentioned from the Federation of Master Builders or the JCT, the links for those are below this video. And if you found this helpful today, then like and subscribe, and don't miss next week's video where I'll show you how to find and choose great builders for your extension project. Take care.